Hello and welcome to Lily's Library. So today we're going to be doing a monthly reads video. So we will be talking about the books I read in April, the books I bought in April, and then the books I am planning on reading in May. So let's just get straight on into it. So I'm going to start with the books I read in April. I read a total of 4 books. 3 of them were physical ones, one being an ARC, one being a library book, and then one of just my regular physical TBR. And then the 4th book was a e-ARC as well that I read that was a fantasy novella. So I think we might start there. It's not the first book I read in the month, but it is my lowest rated of the month, and that was To Sway a Bard. I don't remember the name of the author. I'll put it on the screen though, obviously. This was fine. I thought this was a really fun concept for a novella, but it just really didn't land for me. So like I said, this is a romantasy novella. In this, we follow a bard who is very well renowned and known for being able to steal anything pretty much. She has helped steal all these different artifacts and very important magical items from different places all over this world. And she's kind of going out on one other mission to try and steal something from the trolls. And then our other character, who's our second POV character, he is a prince and also the sheriff, and his job is to track her down and stop her from stealing this, because if she does steal from the trolls, it could spark an all-out war. So his job is to stop her and stuff, and it follows the trouble they get into. There's also obviously a romance, but a lot happens in this book for being so short, and I think that was kind of my issue. Just I kind of didn't understand where we were at timing wise, but I think it was well written. It just personally didn't work out for me. I just found myself skimming over it because I wasn't thoroughly enjoying it, but I think a lot of people would love it. If you are after something that's quick and easy to read and you are a romantasy fan, I think you would enjoy this. Then all the rest of the books I read were all around similar ratings, so I'm just going to go through them in order that I have them here. We've got Sayaka Murata's Vanishing World. This is her newest book. This is out now. It came out in April. This is so interesting and weird. In this, we are set in a world where kind of sex isn't really a thing people do anymore. If they do want to have children and start a family, they just straight up use artificial insemination and IVF processes and all of that stuff. So it's not really a thing that happens in that world, and it's very much frowned upon for people to have sex. So our main character, she is one of the few people whose parents actually did copulate, I guess, and she was the product of that, which is very unusual in this world, and it's kind of like a thing that people look down on because people don't have sex to procreate and have children. Marriages are also very different in this, so their whole point is to just be a family, not necessarily be romantically in love with each other. So the parents are seen more as, in a way, more closer to siblings or something like that, because them sleeping together is viewed as incest. It's a very weird world and a very weird take on everything, but so interesting. In this, our main character and her husband end up moving to this city that's like an experimental city. It's called Eden, and in this city, both men and women are artificially inseminated. Men are given like fake wombs and stuff like that to grow babies, and everyone there raises the children as their own. Everyone is mother in this city. And so when the babies are born, they're taken away and put into a room, and they're all just there. No one knows which child is theirs. They're all raised as the community's baby. You don't know who your sperm donor is or all that kind of stuff, or where the eggs come from. And it's really interesting, and it just talks about so many different things to do with sex and love and relationships, and what a world without sex looks like, and how what is normal can change so quickly. And I just really had a good time with this. I think it's a really interesting take. If you are wanting to start out with Sayaka Murata, I wouldn't recommend starting here, just because there is a lot of stuff that happens in there. A lot to do with miscarriages and pregnancy and body horror. We've also got some pedophilia and adult minor relationships in it. It's just a lot of very uncomfortable things that does happen, especially towards the end, but it is just such an interesting book, and I'm always in awe of Sayaka Murata's mind. Then the next book I read was a library book. This is The Seep by Chana Porter. This is a sci-fi. It's really interesting. So in this, we follow our main character, Trina, who is a 50-year-old trans woman whose life has completely changed after this alien invasion. So at one point, these aliens start invading. They're called the Seep, and our main character and her wife and friends are kind of having a final dinner party without realizing that they're already being infected by the Seep. It kind of gets into people through water supplies and stuff, so they can drink it and become seeped. And one day her wife comes to her and is like, I want to go back and be a baby. I want to die and be reborn again and be reincarnated and kind of start over and have a loving family to raise me. So our main character is kind of dealing with the fact of losing her wife, and like she thought they'd be together forever, and she's kind of dealing with having that loss and coping with why her wife would want to leave her for that and why she can't just be happy with how she is. And we follow Trina on a journey trying to just like find herself, really. A lot of stuff happens leading up to it, and we explore the different things that happen as she's trying to track down someone and to journey and kind of find her place in the world again. And it is just really interesting. If you love Jeff Vandermeer, I think you would really enjoy this. If you like Black Mirror as well, I think you would like this too, especially if you like more alien things. It's just so interesting, and I really had a good time. It made me think a lot as well. It's a very just unique sci-fi and alien invasion book. Then the last book I read was actually a buddy read. I read this with Mika and Gina over on TikTok, and that is Blood Over Brighthaven by ML Wang. I have very mixed feelings about this. I definitely liked Sword of Kaigen better, just because there was a lot of things that I found difficult with in this book. But this is a dark academia. In this we have these spellographs, which are these typewriter things that people can use to siphon power. They'll put in coordinates and put in how much power they need, and it'll suck it out from this thing and use it to power something. So they've got like a reserve that's used to power the entire city and stuff. So it like runs their lights, their transport, boiling water, all of that kind of thing. And in this world we've got mages, and men are pretty much all of the mages, especially the high mages, the ones that can make these decisions. They're ones that are the scholars, the ones that are the wealthy. It is a very misogynistic world, basically. And our main character, Siona, is the first woman to become a high mage and to enter this kind of world that's been barred from women for ages. They only let a woman try out once every decade, and none of them have ever passed besides her. So she's got a lot on her plate dealing with that, and is trying to prove her worth to her colleagues and show that she actually has a right to be there, because they are just doing everything they can really to kind of annoy her and to stop her. They give her someone who is untrained and unqualified to be her like lab assistant and stuff, and take all the assistants for themselves. And it has a lot to do with that power imbalance, and especially the misogyny in this world and the stuff that she experiences. But what comes with that is these other characters that are very much looked down upon, even worse than women. They are called the Quen. They are mostly the indigenous people to this land. They are some of the original tribes and communities that were out in this barren land that is now kind of stuck away from this city that is protected. And people come through the barrier every few years, and if they can work, they are offered protection. If they can't work and aren't able-bodied, they are shoved back out. These people are the laborers. They do all the hard work. If one of them dies in something that goes wrong at a job site, their death is not reported. There is just so much prejudice against these people. And that is something that Siona deals with a lot. That is one of the things that I really struggled with, because she is facing the exact same things, just on a different, like with different wording, that these Quen characters are facing, including one of our other characters, Thamil. It's just, it was so frustrating to read. Like, I'm glad the character development did happen with her though, but it was just a very difficult thing to read and see her naivety and ignorance to other people in this, despite her being one that is also oppressed by this world. It was interesting seeing that being tackled, but it did take a while to happen. So that was one of my issues. And then something about it just didn't hit exactly how I wanted it to. I still think it is a great book. I think ML Wang is an incredible writer still. She does really good characters, really good like unlikable characters as well, and is just so good at showing them change and be bad people and kind of live and learn from the information and propaganda that is around them. I think that is really interesting, but just something about this didn't hit for me, but I still had a really good time with it. So as you can see, I only read 2 books off of my physical TBR, and I did acquire 4 books in the month. One of them is one that I have already read, so it technically doesn't add to my physical TBR, but at the start of April, we had a count of 127 books on my physical TBR. At the end of the month, we have 128. So despite me reading 2, because I had 3 that added to it, we actually went up 1. So I'm hoping I can make more progress in May. I'm going to put myself on a book buying ban for the month. I don't think I'm really going anywhere that would make me want to buy books. There is definitely some recent releases I'm really excited for, but the last new releases I bought, I still haven't read. So I would like to focus on them first and some other books I have before I do buy more. Okay, so to go through the books I bought, I'm going to start with the one that I have already read, and that is Burn by Melanie Saywood. This is an Australian fiction. I listened to it on audiobook mid last year and I really had a good time with it. I have been wanting a physical copy for ages, but I just could never find one. So I was very happy to find one when I was in Brisbane the other weekend, and I picked this up. This is about an Indigenous teenage boy in Australia who sets a bushfire that puts 2 kids into hospital. It looks about his life, his family. It also looks at why good kids do bad things and whether this was actually a cry for help or what happened. It is a very gut-wrenching book, but very important at the same time, and I just had such a fantastic time reading it, and it's something I would really like to reread. Then the other 3 books are ones that are adding to my physical TBR. So 2 of them I bought as well, the other one I got sent. So I'll start with the 2 I bought. First, we have got Clockwork Boys by T. Kingfisher. I didn't actually know this was being like traditionally published. So as soon as I saw it, I just decided to grab it because I hadn't seen it around my area. I don't know if it had only just come out when I was in Brisbane, but either way, I was very excited to pick this up. I'm not 100% sure what this is about. I think this is kind of more steampunky from the sound of it. It says it's got a formerly demon-possessed paladin, a murderous ex-lover, a sexist scholar, and I guess they set off on a mission to learn about the Clockwork Boys, deadly mechanical soldiers from a neighboring kingdom who have been terrorizing their land. I don't know, it seems interesting. Just anything by T. Kingfisher I really enjoy. I don't really need to read the blurbs to know I'm going to like them. So I'm just happy to add this to my TBR because I've only got 2 books at the moment by her that I haven't read. So I'd like to always have at least one unread book from her, just so I always have something to reach for, you know, just because I love her so much. Then I picked up The River Has Roots. This is by Amal El Motar. She is one of the co-authors of This Is How You Lose the Time War. This is a fantasy like novella, I think. It's got really cool illustrations throughout it. Let me see if I can find one. Like, just look at this. I love the style of it. But this is a fantasy novella. This is set in a world where people kind of worship and thank and sing to trees and the trees in their garden to thank them for their power. But yeah, in this we follow 2 sisters as well, and when one of them rejects a very wealthy man for a marriage proposal and decides to get married for love instead, it kind of sets into motion a chain of events that could put their lives at risk. So I'm just really interested to see about the tie to magic and land in this, because that seems to be where a lot of their magic does come from, as well as the sisterly relationship in this. I'm really excited for this one. It's got such a beautiful cover and I've heard really good things. The final book is one I was sent by a publisher. This is from Ultimo Press, which is a small Australian publisher, and that is Letters to Our Robot Son by Cadence Bell. This is already out as well. This is an Australian sci-fi set in the Blue Mountains. In this, we follow a robot who wakes up and kind of finds his family and all of humanity is gone, and he is probably the only one left. He's kind of journeying through the Blue Mountains and through Australia, trying to find out what happened, and the only person he has, or only being he has with him as a companion, is a little cat. And it says that one day he stumbles across a cantankerous robot who claims to be his sister, and that's a problem because she might be the reason there are no people. And I just love sci-fi, and this sounds really fun and interesting. It's been comped to things like Fallout and Project Hail Mary, and it just sounds really sweet. There was also some WALL-E comps as well, which used to be one of my favorite movies as a kid. So I'm very excited for this, and I do really need to read more Australian sci-fi. I've only read Terra Nullius, so I'm very excited to see what this one has to offer. And I think the Blue Mountains is such a unique and fun setting, so I'm really intrigued to see what this is like. Okay, now to get through the quite ambitious stack of books I have to read in May. Some of these are short, some of these are long, and I really don't know how I'm gonna go, but we shall see. So I'm just gonna go down the stack I have because they're kind of precarious and wobbling. So we'll start with the first one, which is The Healing Season of Pottery. This is by Yeon So-min and translated from Korean by Claire Richards. This is kind of like a cozy fiction sort of vibe. In this, we follow a woman who has been working as a news writer, and she's kind of over her job and kind of struggling to find what she loves in life. So she decides to quit it and ends up like basically going into hibernation and just stays in her apartment for ages. And when she does finally reemerge and come out, she discovers this little pottery studio. So she joins a class there and slowly begins to fall in love with it and being able to craft with her hands again. And it's making her find herself and find out what she enjoys in life. And it just sounds really cute and sweet and like the perfect read for right now, seeing it is very autumnal and getting colder here at the moment. The leaves are changing, kind of like fresh being season, so I'm very excited for this one. I think I'm going to start this pretty soon. Then I'm hoping to get to Everblessed. This is by Olivia O'Flynn. This comes out on June 4. This is an arc of it. This is a first in a series. It is a romantasy steeped in mythology, and we've got like a fractured world by ruling gods who are trying to take magic away from the Everblessed, these immortals that have been blessed with these powers. And it sounds really interesting, and I've heard really good things from reviews, and I just really want to read more Australian authors, and Olivia is an Aussie author, so I'm very excited for this one. We've got a very chunky book I'm going to be starting. I don't think I'll be able to finish this month, which is fine because it is the next book in the Farseer Readers book club. So we have just finished the Farseer trilogy and we are moving on to the live ship traders. I think we're going to be doing this over the next month and a half, potentially 2 months, just because this is a 880 page book, but this is the Ship of Magic, which, like I said, is book 1 of the live ship traders. So in this we follow a completely different band of characters. We're also focusing on the Rain Wilds, which is a different kind of area to where the Farseer books have been set. I don't think we've really seen anything from the Rain Wilds yet. But in this universe, these books are made from wood that only comes from the Rain Wilds, and it's kind of powered by families and people dying on them. So we follow our main character who is about to undergo her quickening. This is when the boats kind of get that power, I guess. And she's waiting for the ship that she loves more than anything in the world to awaken. But her dream of taking her father's place at its helm is not to be, for her family have other plans. And the dark, charming pirate Kenneth also lusts after such a ship. He well knows the power of wizardwood and has plans of his own. It just sounds really interesting. I'm very sad to be leaving like Fitz and the Fool and all of those characters behind because I truly do love them, but I'm very excited to see where this goes. I think I'm going to be starting this very soon and just trying to read 150 pages a week if I can and just pace myself so I can get it done at a reasonable speed, because I did definitely put off reading the final 2 books in the Farseer trilogy, and that kind of fucked me around a bit because I was just playing catch up and finished them a lot later than I had planned. But I'm so excited to see what this book has to offer. I've seen a lot of people say this is kind of their least favorite trilogy and series out of all of the books in the realm of the Elderlings. So I'm intrigued to see what this is like, but I just really, really love pirates. Like, pirate books are some of my favorite things. So I'm very excited to see what this has to offer, and it sounds like it's going to be really fun with the 2 different characters we follow. Okay, these next 3 books are going to be very familiar because I just spoke about them. They're all on my TBR. I won't go into too much detail, but first we've got The River Has Roots by Amal El Motar. I'm actually going to be starting it this weekend. This is a buddy read I'm doing with 2 of my friends from TikTok, with Kerry, who is reading in tandem, and Chris, who is Crispy Reads, and I'm really excited for this one. I've already kind of gone through it. I'll definitely have more to say if you stay tuned for my reading vlog that will be coming out, because I'm hoping to film my reading process of this one, hopefully as well with the healing season of Pottery. Then I'm hoping to get to Letters to Our Robot Son by Cadence Bell. Like I said, this is an Australian sci-fi set in the Blue Mountains. It kind of seems like it's going to have those kind of like found family vibes. Then finally, I'm hoping to read Burn by Melanie Saywood. This is going to be a buddy read with Caitlin. I will link her channel down below because she does post on here as well. But I'm very excited for this one. This will be a reread for me, but it's Caitlin's first time reading the book. So I know she's going to sob like a baby in this because it is very, very sad at times, but I'm very excited to see what she thinks and to read it with someone who is reading it for the first time. Now, I'm also currently reading Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, so I'm hoping to finish that this weekend as well and add that to the TBR. This is a digital book I'm reading on my e-reader and I'm really enjoying it. I read Out on a Limb earlier this year and had such a fun time with it. I really enjoy Hannah's books, and they're kind of like the perfect thing to read after I do finish reading kind of Robin Hobbs things, because they're a lot lighter and fun and still have those tender and sad moments, but they're just so easy to get through. They're just such page turners. But that is all of the books I read and bought in April and all of the books I'm planning to read in May. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite book you read in April was and the book you are most excited to get to this month. And I will see you all on Wednesday with a new vlog and then another video next weekend. But make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.